Hey guys, today we're going to start something new. All right, so you are going to be able to, I can rename fractions as percents and percents as fractions. It might sound hard, but it's not. So just make sure you follow along and work along, and you'll be just fine. This picture right here shows you a circle that's half of it is colored red. All right, so in fraction form, there's your half, 1/2, which also, can't we say that 50% of the circle is red? So here is how you write it, 50%. And then also 5/10 is also half, because if you were to write this 5 out of 10, you can find the equivalent fraction to 100. All right, so 10 times 10 is 100. And then if you multiply 10 to the denominator, you multiply 10 to the numerator. 5 times 10 is 50. So 5/10, or 0.5, is exactly the same as 50 out of 100, or 50 over 100, 50 100ths. So if you had a pizza and you cut it in half, you're eating half a pizza. But if you took that pizza and you divided it, I should probably use blue, and you divided it, there's my blue, into 100 different pieces. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do that on here because it's just too small. If you divided that into 100 pieces, you would have 50 pieces over here, which is still half of the pizza. So what exactly does percent mean? Well, per is out of, and cent means 100. Like a century is 100 years. A cent, there's 100 cents in a dollar. And then here's your percent sign. This is what it looks like. So when you're saying percent, it's just a fancy way of saying 50 out of 100. Here's an example. If 8 out of every 10 professional basketball players are female, so if we're saying that not 10, I'm sorry, 8 out of every 100, that means 8% are female basketball players. Okay? This page is going to show you how to rename or convert percents to fractions. So let's say we have 50%. We know that it's out of 100 because a percent is out of 100. So it's how many out of 100? Well, we just change that percent sign to the 100, and we have 50 out of 100. So they are equal. But we need to reduce it. So this is saying 50 out of 100 people, or 50 out of 100, whatever. Okay? So when we reduce it, there's two ways you can do it. You can either cancel out. So when you have a 0 in the numerator and a 0 in the denominator, you can easily, let me move this thing. There we go. So you can easily cancel these zeros out, and you have 5/10, and then you have to actually reduce 5/10, which is a heck of a lot easier than reducing 50 100ths. Okay, what number will divide into both 5 and 10? Well, you can divide both by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5, or 5 times what is 10, is 2, which is half. And you guys probably already know that 50% is half. If you go to the store and it's 50% off, it's going to be half price. So if it costs $50, half of $50 is 25. So what we did here is divided both by 50, which got 1/2. So it needs to be simplified. So basically 50% means 50 out of 100, or half. All right, here's another one. We have 125%. Well, remember, a percent is always out of 100. So we take the 125 over 100. But now we have to reduce it. So our greatest common factor that we can divide into both is 25. So when we divide 125 by 25 and 100 divided by 25, we get 5/4. The problem with that is we have an improper fraction. Well, this improper fraction needs to be reduced. This is the same thing as saying 5 divided by 4. 5 divided by 4. 4 goes into 5 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. We put that down here. We subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1, which is our remainder, 1/4. But what I like to do is I like to say 4 goes into 5 one time, and I put my fraction bar. I keep my denominator the same, and then I go around. 4 times 1 is 4, plus how many more equals 5. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So your answer is 1 1/4. Simplified. All right. So that's the same thing as saying 125% means 125 out of, or for, every 100, which is 1 1/4. Just like you're given 125% right now. All right, so find this paper in your notes. We're going to do these together, or I want you to try them. So pause the video. If you still need a little bit of extra help, you can follow along. But I'd like you to try it on your own first. All right, now that you're back, we have 25%. So we know that it's what? 25 out of, percent is always out of, yep, that's right, 100. And now all we do is reduce it. What number will divide into both 25 and 100? Well, the biggest one is 25. So we have to divide both the numerator and the denominator. Oh, stop. By 25. So 25 divided by 25 is 1, and 100 divided by 25 is 4. And we can check that. 1/4. All right, so if you've already tried it, go ahead and watch my example. If you haven't tried this one next, then go ahead and pause the video and try it. All right, so you're back. All right, so here, 60% is the same thing as saying 60 out of 100. Okay, hopefully nobody will get a 60% on their quiz, but if they did, it's the same thing as saying 60 out of 100. You got 60 out of 100 correct, even though there wasn't 100 questions on it. Now we have to reduce it. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cancel out these zeros, because when you have a 0 in the numerator and a 0 in the denominator, we can cancel them out. So now we have 6/10, but 6/10 can still be reduced. So what number will divide into both 6 and 10 evenly? Well, think. They're both even numbers. What number will divide into all even numbers? 2. So we divide both our numerator and our denominator by 2. 6 divided by 2, or 2 times what is 6, and we get 3. And 10 divided by 2, or 2 times what is 10, is 5. So our answer is 3/5. Are you getting it? If you're getting it, say, I'm getting it. If you're not getting it, say, raise your hand. Miss Murphy, I need help. All right, pause it. Try the next one. Unless you've already tried it, let's check it. All right, so here we have 175 out of 100. Remember, look at them. They're all 100s. It would be nice to be able to get 175 on a test, wouldn't it, out of 100? So now we have to reduce it. 175 over 100, that's a big number to reduce. And if you don't know big numbers to divide into it, use divisibility rules by knowing that 5 will divide evenly into any number that ends in a 5 or a 0. So we know that we can divide 5 into 175 and 5 into 100. Can you do that in your head? I can't. So I have to go in and I have to show my work. So I'm going to come up here at the top and I'm going to do 175 divided by 5. Okay? 5 won't divide, I can't divide into 1. So how many times will 5 go into 17? 5 times what is close to 17? 3. Because 5 times 3 is 15. Put that down there and then we subtract. 17 minus 15 is 2. We bring down our 5. 5 times what is 25? 5. 5 times 5 is 25. We have no remainders. So 175 divided by 5 is 35. And then 100 divided by 5. Well, you should be able to figure that out. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. That's 20. But we still have an improper fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase this. Or actually, I guess I can just move this out of the way. So now we have to do the same thing again. 35 divided by 20. 35 divided by 20. Okay, 20 won't divide into, no, sorry about that. Scratch that. Let me get rid of that. I was doing that wrong. What number will divide into both 35 and 20? Okay, again, they both end in 5 and 0, so we can divide both by 5. So 35 divided by 5, well, we know is 7, right? And 20 divided by 5 is 4. But we still have an improper fraction, so we have to divide again. So now it's a little bit easier. How many times will 4 go into 7? How many whole times? Well, it'll go 1 whole time, because 4 times 1 is 4. If you said 2, it's too big, because 4 times 2 is 8. Let's keep our denominator, which is 4. And then you just go around. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus how many more equals 7? 4, 5, 6, 7, 3. So 1 3/4. Or if you already knew that 75% equals 3/4, or 3/4 equals 75%, there's your 3/4 and there's your 1. Huh, how cool is that? And there's the answer. All right, we have one more. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff, move that out of the way. And now we have 120. Let's change the color. Or let's do this. So we have 120. That's a little too fat. Let's see, I think I can change that. Yeah, I'm going to make it thinner. Alright, erase that. Alright, so we have 120 out of 100. Now, do you remember what I said about the zeros? We can cancel them out. So now we have 12 tenths. What number will divide into both 12 and 10? 2. 12 divided by 2, or 2 times what is 12, which is 6. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. We still have an improper fraction. We have to reduce it. 5 goes into 6 one whole time. 5 is our denominator. Okay, so 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 5 times 1 plus 5 is 6/5. And that's our answer. 1 1/5. So now you have a paper in front of you, and I want you to go ahead and try some on your own.